Are you wondering if walking 10K steps per day will really boost fat loss? Once I added more walking into my plan, I finally got the results I wanted. But burning more calories with more cardio wasn't the main reason that walking helped me burn more fat. Keep watching to learn 4 reasons why it's a good idea to add more walking into your weight loss plan. Plus, I'll tell you when walking 10,000 steps per day won't even make a dent into your fat loss progress. Before we get to stepping, please like the video and subscribe. I want to show you what really works for sustainable weight loss, especially if you're a woman over 40 like me. Hey, I'm Nissa, and my 100-pound weight loss story was featured in media like People magazine and Pop Sugar. Since then, I've helped hundreds of women break free from fad and yo-yo diets with the same simple macro approach I use to lose 100 pounds. Okay, so if you're wondering if 10K steps are good for fat loss for women, the answer is an astounding yes, but not necessarily for the reasons that you think. When we think about walking, most women's minds turn to the extra calorie burn associated with more activity. Now, believe it or not, those extra calories burned might not add up to all that much more fat loss. Most women average around 1,000 steps for every 10 minutes of a brisk walk. So let's say that you have very little activity for the rest of the day. Now, if that's the case, then that means that you'll have to walk somewhere around 100 minutes, which adds up to an hour and 40 minutes each day in order to reach 10,000 steps. And walking those daily 10K steps will help most women burn somewhere around 300 to 400 calories. So that's around 100 extra minutes of daily activity just to burn the same amount of calories that pretty much anyone can eat in under 3 minutes if you say, have a higher calorie protein bar as a snack when you get back from your walk. Of course, if you don't reward yourself with extra food, then yes, the calorie burn will help your overall weight loss efforts. But there are still actually 4 more important reasons to work up to 10K steps per day than just burning excess calories. And of course, we are going to get to all of those reasons in just a minute. But first, I want to start out with a precautionary tale about when adding more daily steps doesn't lead to weight loss. Now, when I began walking for weight loss in 2021, I'd walk something like 60 to 90 minutes most mornings. Since most people walk around 1,000 steps every 10 minutes, this equates to around 6,000 to 9,000 steps per day just from my morning walks. Now, when you add in other daily activities like grocery shopping, maybe some household chores, or even just getting up to use the bathroom, I was definitely hitting at least 10,000 steps most days. Now, even though I felt healthier and I had more energy when I added in these morning walks, I want you to understand that my weight wasn't dropping just because I was hitting 10K steps per day. In order to see any substantial progress, I had to add more than just walking 10K steps per day to my plan. And for most women, it is going to take more than just walking in order to get the progress you want. And that's mostly because most of the work related to fat loss is done in the kitchen. While that doesn't mean that there won't be examples of women who lose weight just from adding more walking, for most of us, that's only one part of an effective fat loss plan. Now, once I hit 40, simply adding more walks and sort of monitoring what I ate still kept me stuck when it came to what the scale had to say. Now, it wasn't until I really dialed in my macros, committed to logging what I ate for every single meal, and also added in a solid resistance weight training routine that I finally made progress. So while yes, more movement does matter, and walking 10K steps per day will make a difference for most women, just know that there's more to a successful plan than just walking. With that said, getting 10K steps per day can help with your fat loss progress in other helpful ways other than just a few hundred extra calories during a moderate walk. Now, here are 4 reasons to hit 10K steps per day when your goal is fat loss. Number 1, more movement matters. Now, this is especially true because when you lower calories in order to reach a fat loss goal, your body eventually lowers your calorie output in response. So this automatic process that's in place to help keep you alive in time of famine actually throws off the entire calories in versus calories out equation unless you purposely add more movement to counteract this fat loss countermeasure. And of course, one way to add more movement is by tracking daily steps and making sure that your steps stay somewhere in the 8 to 10,000 steps per day range. Reason number 2 is moderate walks can act as an appetite suppressant. I walk most mornings for somewhere like 45 minutes to an hour, and since I'm walking first thing in the morning, I'm also walking fasted. And this always feels good because I have trained my body to enjoy fasted exercise. But even after a 45 to 60-minute walk, I'm not hungry for probably another hour or two after my walk. Thus, getting in morning steps will help me push my fast out a little bit longer. While I don't particularly fast for weight loss anymore, I have noticed that fasting for like 14 to 15 hours most days between last night's dinner and before I have my first meal, it helps control my hunger for the rest of the day. So that way it's just easier to stick to my total calorie budget, especially when I'm attempting to eat in a deficit for fat loss. And even though I complete a big portion of my steps early in the day, adding in a moderate walk can act as a mild appetite suppressant pretty much any time of day. So if you're starting to feel a little bit hungry, but it's not quite time to have a meal, getting in a quick walk could be the key to controlling your appetite. Reason number 3 you should work up to 10K steps per day is walking can help lower cortisol. Now, if your goal is fat loss, keeping cortisol from spiking throughout the day is so important. One reason keeping cortisol spikes low is important is that elevated cortisol levels can actually increase your appetite, which is going to make it difficult to stick to your calorie budget. Now, cortisol spikes can also lead to cravings for sweet, fatty, and even salty foods, which of course are all of the kinds of foods that most of us overeat, and that's what leads to weight gain. One way to combat unnecessary cortisol spikes is with a moderate walk, especially if you're walking outdoors and in nature. But even if you're stuck on the treadmill because the weather, maybe it's not cooperating, getting your heart rate up to a moderate level without overdoing it with very intense cardio can actually help lower cortisol. In fact, studies have shown that stress hormones are greatly reduced even after a quick 20-minute walk. So even the small amount of activity is going to lead to a better mood as well as a more positive outlook for most people. Reason number 4 to hit 10K steps per day is that walking early in the day is a great time to get sunlight exposure into your eyes and onto your skin. Now, getting sunlight into your eyes early in the day has so many benefits, especially when fat loss is your goal. Now, first off, creating the habit of getting somewhere like 3 to 5 minutes of sunlight into your eyes first thing in the morning actually helps with better sleep. And in case you haven't heard, high quality sleep is extremely important if you want to lose weight. One reason sleep is so important is when you don't get enough high quality sleep, you're going to have more hunger and more cravings throughout the day. Now, another reason more sleep is important is not getting enough sleep actually leads to more stress. And like we just talked about, more stress is going to equate to a much more difficult time shedding fat. Another great reason to get more sunlight into your eyes and onto your skin early in the day is that it boosts serotonin. This is important since serotonin helps boost your mood while also helping you feel more calm and focused. And exposure to sunlight early in the day stimulates the MSH hormone, which, according to Dr. Huberman, helps suppress appetite throughout the rest of the day. Plus, depending on the time you walk, you can also get an effective dose of vitamin D as long as you have enough skin exposed. And having sufficient vitamin D levels has a ton of health benefits, including speeding up weight loss. Okay, so there are 4 reasons beyond the extra calorie burn to add 10K steps to your day. If you're not sure how many steps you take each day, wearing a smartwatch is a great way to track. But even if you don't own a smartwatch, you can take your smartphone with you wherever you go because there are plenty of apps that will also help you track your steps. Now, hopefully this new knowledge has inspired you to work up to those 10K steps per day for faster fat loss and also improved health. If you want even more tips on how to reach your fat loss goals, get my top 5 tips for fat loss over 40 at eatingfatisthenewskinny.com/tips. And I am going to add the link to the description so you don't have to remember all of that. But I will also add in one-on-one coaching information in case you want even more support when it comes to reaching your goals this year.